Program is intended for mature audiences only. If you have any homicidal or suicidal feelings, please consult a doctor before listening to this program.
Well, you know you do. That's right, you do. 3 p.m. Eastern. You know what that means. That's right, on this Friday the 20th of February 2015, it is, of course, HTLA at Radio 1 New York. You've got it locked to. And today's Coffee and Cigarettes, the Friday Frappacino. And today on the show, I've got some things to lighten up your Friday and just kick off the weekend in style, I think. That's where I'm going to go. Yeah, you betcha. Today on the big show, and in the interest of shutting down your week with a bang, a record freeze for the Northeast worsens while Obama heats up Washington with his profession of undying love for the USA. Yes, and he kicks Rudy Giuliani in the bag on Twitter. Also on the show today, Elsa of Disney's Frozen is wanted by authorities. Yeah, you bet. HPD has issued an arrest warrant for Queen Elsa of Arendelle. Yes, the suspect is a blonde female last seen wearing a long blue dress and is known to burst into song, Let It Go. Yes, and as you can see by the weather, she is very dangerous too. Do not attempt to apprehend her alone. And hey, how about that Kim Jong-un, huh? Yeah, he gets a haircut. So what? Why is that news? Well, let's just put it this way, it's not your dad's haircut, that's for sure. We got all that and so much more today, so come on in and grab a cup, have a seat, and of course light one up. It's coffee time. The theme we all know and love on this fine coffee and cigarette shoe. Yes. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever it may be to you. Right now it's 3:03 in the afternoon in New York. 16 degrees in Central Park right now. Sunny, although it's certainly not warm at 16. No, it's not. But who cares? We're safely in the house here. We got it all down the house here. And speaking of in the house, of course, the one and only social media goddess, Jenny McCartney, is in the booth, pushing those buttons, making the show go. And yes, that sip does mean that today's show is brought to you by Tim Hortons New York City, now with 8 locations in the city to serve all your coffee and baked goods needs. And man, that's all I need. Just coffee and a couple of smokes. Also joining us live via satellite, because damn it, he wants it that way, is the one, the only Louis Lawless.
You know how to spell my last name on the check, right? It's Louis Lawless.
Yes, sir, I do have that.
Oh, can we cuss? Can I cuss as I always do on the show?
You can, but I'm ready with the button.
It's about fucking time. Move on.
See, there you go. I got you.
He needs love, Chris. Come on.
I know.
You gotta dispense more love from yourself. All these people are hurting here.
That's right, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to dispense some love. Also joining us from an undisclosed secret location, likely in California or Florida, is the one, the only Kirstie Alley. Hello, Kirstie.
A lot of the times, we are happy with each other because we're together, and we are our own support system. Mm-hmm. So, but right now, I mean, I feel good. I feel great to be here. It does give you a viewpoint of, you should freaking feel good to be here.
Yeah, you should. Yes, and you are still doing Jenny Craig, yes?
Well, I'm doing Jenny Craig, and I'm the Jenny Craig spokesperson. Right. I did it before. I lost weight. I kept it off for 3 years. Then I started slowly gaining it back. Mm-hmm. They wanted to help me. You can't really help someone unless they want help. I'm really sticking to the program, and the difference this time for me is that I'm really hard-headed. It's like, I used to be a cocaine addict, right? Well, right. Addict, whatever you want to call him. But I'm hard-headed, so it took me 4 times to go, I'm not doing this anymore. Oh, yes, you are. Oh, yes, you are. And then the last time I was just like, this is ruining my life. Once I come to that point with anything, that's what I've come to with gaining weight. This is freaking wasting my time, ruining my life. And I'm sort of an analytical person. So it's like, I'm done.
Right. Okay. Well, good. That's good that you're still doing that. And yeah. Also joining us from his home in Los Angeles, California, is the one, the only George Takei. Yes.
I think it's a treat to be here talking with you.
That's good, George. Thank you.
Okay, good. We're in pretty good company.
I think so, Kirstie.
I've said too much.
No, you haven't.
Yes.
Well, What are you going to do when you live in the shoe? George, give the folks a little rundown about you, please.
I'm George Takei, and when I'm walking down the street, people shout out, "Hey, Sulu!" So I'm known more as Sulu than as George Takei, which is what I really am.
Yes. You are George Takei. Oh, my. And, of course, George, Sulu is the character from Star Trek, yes?
I've done Star Trek, the series, and the movie series up to the 6th one.
Right, yes, which, of course, was my favorite. Yes. And we went through that whole thing the other day when I told you all about... well, I guess my Star Trek movie experience. There's actually only 2 films, not 6 there. It'd be, The Wrath of Khan would be Star Trek 1, and then The Undiscovered Country would be Star Trek 2, yes.
You are a douchebag.
Well, yeah, and those 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, and 13, and 14 Star Trek films, yeah, I don't count those either. Yeah, so welcome one and all to the great show today. Thank you for being here.
That's the famous story about Jerry Lee Lewis. You heard that story, haven't you? Sitting behind his desk at Paramount, talking with big executives and TV people, and all of a sudden the chick pops up underneath, wipes off her mouth, and walks out the door, and Jerry doesn't bat an eye.
Oh, my.
Oh, can we cuss? Can I cuss as I always do on the show?
No, you can't. No, absolutely not. It's not going to happen. Welcome, everybody, and let's see. What's the first item up for bids on the old coffee is cigarette right here. Yeah. Shut up, George. Yes, a bitter record-setting cold air mass swept its icy grip on much of the central and eastern U.S. Today, bringing sub-zero temperatures and showing no sign of... It's from Florida to New England. Yeah. At least 72 record-low temperatures were broken Friday morning, all the way from Marquette, Michigan, at minus 26 degrees, all the way down to, and even including, Miami at only 42 degrees. In Minnesota, the community of Cotton posted an overnight low of minus 42 without wind chill factor. The National Weather Service reports in western Pennsylvania, temperatures dipped to minus 18 in some areas. An eddy of the polar vortex is leading to the coldest weather of this recent cold spell, creating a deep layer of bitterly cold air along with gusty winds. Yes, in Lynchburg, Virginia, they plummeted to minus 11 degrees this morning, setting a new all-time record low. Flint, Michigan as well tied its all-time record low of minus 25, while Cleveland set an all-time February low of minus 17. Washington's Reagan National Airport registered a 6-degree low on Friday, beating the 119-year-old record low for the day of 8 degrees. New York City's Central Park dipped to only 2 degrees, breaking a 1950 mark of 7. Baltimore's airport posted a low of 2 degrees.
Yeah, nothing quite like living in the old days there. The Coffee and Cigarettes Friday Frappuccino from February. He's just sucking up the cold and sounding like a chipmunk. Yeah, that's what the cold does to you out here in the Northeast, you know. Oh, yes, it does. Well, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever it may be to you. Of course, to us here at HTLA Studio 2 in downtown Manhattan, it is 3 o'clock, and time, of course, for HTLA's Coffee and Cigarettes, your Friday Frappuccino. I am Chris the Crashman Taylor right here in Studio 2 with you today, bringing you the lovely shoe. Of course, we got the one and only Jenny McCartney in the booth, pushing the buttons, making the show go today on that PreSonus 2442 digital mixer. That's right. For everything in professional and digital audio, look no further than PreSonus.com. That's where you go. Also, this show is, of course, brought to you, as always, by the fine folks at Tim Hortons in New York City. That's right. There are 8 locations in the city to serve all your coffee and fine baked good needs. Tim Hortons definitely is always fresh. Oh, that's all great, Crash, but what do you got for my Friday show? Well, today on the big show, we've got everything from Biolab nightmares you never even knew about, yes, to Manhattanhenge. Yes, that's happening this weekend in the big city. We'll tell you all about that. Let's kick off the weekend with a big old bang, shall we? Yes, gang, you know it. We are live at 3 p.m. Eastern, and it is 3:01. It's the time. It's the time. That's right. So drop what you're doing. Come on in, grab that cup, have a seat, and light one up. It's coffee time. That's right. It is coffee time, of course, in the big city. 3:02 in the afternoon right now in downtown New York City. 82 degrees in Central Park right now with the sun is shining. Everything's bright and shiny and happy people. Got it right here rolling for you for the 29th of May, 2015. Yeah, May is almost gone. Can you believe it? And hey, isn't it nice? The snow. The snow is indeed finally gone. Officially, yes. We'll mark today as the official end of winter 2015. That's what we'll do. Of course, it'll start up again in about 38 days. Right, so enjoy it while it lasts. There you go. Well, as mentioned before, the one, the only Jenny McCartney is in the booth today with us, pushing the buttons, making the show go as always. And, of course, all obligatory sponsors and advertisers notwithstanding. Yes, they are still there. But now it is time to introduce, of course, the guest/co-host of the show today. And, of course, as always, coming to us live from Mill Bay Studios in beautiful downtown Mill Bay, British Columbia, Canada, is the one, the only filmmaker, director, producer, television, film, you name it, man, Louis Lawless. There he is. Are you there, Louis?
Can you give me any help for $25,000?
Yes, sir, absolutely. I will. I'll fill out a check this afternoon.
You know how to spell my last name on the check, right? It's Louis Lawless.
Right, absolutely, I do. And yep, $25,000, not a problem.
All right, go a half an hour. Do I get $50,000?
Yeah, that's starting to push it just a little bit.
It's about fucking time. Move on. Move on.
Right. Thank you.
Oh, can we cuss? Can I cuss as I always do on the show?
Yes, you can. You can, absolutely. We've got the button. The button there. We've got you on a, I don't know, what is it, Jen, a 20-second delay? Yeah, something like that. Well, yeah, we'll just, we'll do that and we'll beep you out.
You being Catholic, you realize that you can have birth control. You realize that?
Word on the street is that is the case, yes. Yes, and I can tell by that chuckle.
Yes.
Yes, it's the one, the only Gilbert Gottfried from his beautiful, I'm going to say, cardboard box in an alley about 8 blocks away from the studio here.
What the fuck? I'm ready.
You're ready. Well, that's good. I'm ready too.
Yes.
Let's do that. Also joining us from his beautiful home in Malibu, California, is the one, the only, Mr. George Takei. George, are you there? George, are you there? Oh, I think he's drinking again.
Yes.
I think it's a treat to be here talking with you.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you. That's yes, it's good that you're here and not drunk.
Yeah.
Anyway, George, give the folks a little bit of heads up about yourself, will you?
I'm George Takei, and when I'm walking down the street, people shout out, "Hey, Sulu!" So I'm known more as Sulu than as George Takei,
right?
Which is what I really am.
Well, let's hope so. Yeah. So we got Louis, we got Gilbert,
yes,
and we've got the one and only George Takei, or Mr. Sulu, or Well, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. That's the important thing.
Yes.
Just as long as you know exactly what I mean.
Yes.
And that is, of course, part of my job as the host of the show.
Yes.
You gotta know what I mean.
It seemed like Dean Martin was uncomfortable too.
He's dead. Yeah. That's probably why he's uncomfortable, Gilbert.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's about fucking time. Move on.
All right. Moving on to big show today. What's the first item up for bids? Well, we brought you the stories yesterday, of course, about the anthrax and the biolabs and the exterminations out at the Air Force.
Yes.
Based there in Korea.
Yeah.
Yes. And so we've got a little probe here that we've come across that identifies over 200 biolabs from New York City to a valley somewhere deep in the heart of Montana. Yeah. Yeah. Get this story, gang. Vials of bioterror bacteria have gone missing. Missing. Yes, they are gone.
They get fucking crazy because all of a sudden nobody loves them.
Is that what the terrorists are doing, Louis? Yeah, is that? Well, in addition to bioterror bacteria going missing, lab mice infected with deadly viruses have also escaped out into the wild.
Yeah.
And wild rodents have been found making nests with research waste. And if that's not enough, there's cattle infected at a university's vaccine experiment, and they were repeatedly sent to slaughter, and their meat was sold for human consumption. Nothing quite says barbecue like Monsanto.
Yes.
Well, gear meant to protect lab workers from lethal viruses such as Ebola and bird flu. Well, they've also repeatedly failed. Yeah. It's a true story. USA Today has undergone, or not undergone an investigation. They don't deal in this crap, but they've actually initiated, I guess is the word.
Yes.
They've initiated an investigation that reveals that hundreds of lab mistakes, safety violations, and near-miss incidents have occurred in biological laboratories coast to coast in the last few years, putting scientists, their colleagues, and sometimes even the public at risk. Who says zombie apocalypse ain't coming? That's what I want to know. Well, oversight of biological research labs is fragmented. It's often secretive and largely self-policing, the investigation found, and even when research facilities commit the most egregious safety or security breaches, as more than 100 labs across the country have, federal regulators keep their names secret. Yeah. Of particular concern are mishaps occurring at institutions working with the world's most dangerous biopathogens in biosafety levels 3 and 4 labs, the two highest levels of containment that have proliferated since the 9/11 terror attacks in 2001. Yet there is no publicly available list of these labs, and the scope of their research and safety records are largely unknown to most state health departments charged with responding to, of course, the disease outbreaks and mishaps. Yes. Well, even the federal government doesn't know where they all are. The Government Accountability Office has warned for years. A team of reporters who work for the USA Today network of Garnet newspapers and TV stations identified more than 200 of these high containment lab facilities in all 50 states and the District of Columbia, operated by government agencies, universities, and, my personal favorite, private companies. Monsanto.
Yes.
Well, yeah, this is some bad stuff. They're scattered across the country from the heart of New York City to a valley off in the distant Montana, from areas near Seattle's Space Needle to just a few blocks away from Kansas City's Country Club Pizza restaurant and shopping district. Yes. High-profile lab accidents last year with anthrax, Ebola, and bird flu at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention at the discovery of forgotten vials of deadly smallpox virus at the National Institutes of Health raised widespread concerns about lab safety and security nationwide and whether current oversight is adequate to protect workers. Well, Wednesday, the Department of Defense disclosed one of its labs in Utah mistakenly sent samples of live anthrax, of course, instead of killed specimens, to labs across the USA. Plus a military base in South Korea where 22 people are now being treated with antibiotics because of their potential exposure to the bioterror pathogen. As many as 18 labs in 9 states received samples, the CDC said yesterday. Well, the CDC incidents show us is that the very best labs are not perfectly safe, says Mark Lipsitch, a Harvard University professor of epidemiology. If it can happen there, it can certainly happen anywhere. Some people find little reassurance that nobody was sickened in the CDC accidents or in the historically low numbers of serious infections among lab workers generally. Or further, that infection is spreading into communities and surrounding these labs have been rarer still. Many of us think that it's really a matter of good fortune, says Beth Willis, who chairs a citizen lab advisory panel in Frederick, Maryland, home to one of the nation's largest high-containment research campuses at the Army's Fort Detrick. The country's best labs have robust safety systems, said Ken Burns, co-chair of the panel outside lab safety advisors currently examining biosafety at the CDC and other federal labs. Yet the systematic safety problems identified at the CDC's prestigious labs have raised questions about what's happening elsewhere. It's a matter of some concern, said Burns, a distinguished professor emeritus of molecular genetics and microbiology at the University of Florida. The consequences obviously could be devastating if accidents were to occur with lab-created strains of deadly influenza viruses that are purposely engineered to be easier to spread than what's found in nature, says David Relman, a microbiology professor at Stanford, who is also a federal advisor on lab safety and past president of the Infectious Disease Society of America. You're talking about something that has the ability to take off, and we could not be confident of being able to contain it, he said. Relman said that not enough is known about the state of safety at labs that perform infectious disease research, but emphasized that the kinds of labs drawing concern are the same ones that the public needs to discover important new treatments and vaccines, he says. We have to find some happy blend of minimized risk and enhanced benefit, he said. Well, here's a hint. Don't send the stuff out in the mail. Just an idea.
Yes.
You know.
Bullshitters, never keep your mouth shut. Always hustling, always looking for something to do and putting things together. That's a American. Look how they took the country away from England.
Well, and here we go with England again. Yeah. Well, at the high containment labs identified by USA Today, experiments are underway involving drug-resistant tuberculosis, exotic strains of flu, the SARS and the MERS virus, plague, anthrax, botulism, ricin, and Ebola and Marburg hemorrhagic fever viruses, according to interviews and more than 20,000 pages of internal lab safety records and incident reports obtained from labs across the country. Studies are also being done on a wide range of bioterror pathogens that are less known to the public, such as agents that cause exotic diseases like tularmia, Q fever, and melioidosis. Still, others are focused on pathogens that pose serious economic risk to agriculture, such as foot and mouth disease, brucellosis, and mad cow disease. At a few labs, experiments have been done with strains of flu and other viruses purposely to be made more dangerous in studies that seek to understand how they might mutate naturally. White House science advisors called for a temporary halt to that kind of gain of function research last fall, while expert scientific panels spend the next year studying its risks and benefits. The research at BSL-3 and BSL-4 labs, which use special equipment, negative air pressure, and numerous safety and security procedures, seeks to better understand how organisms cause disease and ways to protect against them. It's the kind of work that the public doesn't give much thought to until people with Ebola arrive on planes in the United States.
Yes.
Of course, yes. Yeah, and about that, can we just close the damn airports, finally? I just really don't understand what everybody's problem is about that. Just close the damned airports. It's simple, it's easy, it's fast, it's free. Well, it's impossible to obtain a full accounting of lab accidents or lab-acquired infections because there is no universal mandatory requirement for reporting them and no system in place to analyze trends, to assess emerging biosafety risks, and disseminate lessons learned on a regular basis. The Federal Select Agent Program, which inspects and regulates the subset of research labs with experiments with about 4 dozen types of pathogens deemed to pose bioterror threats, requiring labs to report potential exposure or release incidents, as well as thefts or loss of specimens. Now, from 2006 to 2013, labs notified federal regulators about 1,500 incidents in which select agent pathogens and, more than in 800 cases, workers received medical treatment or evaluation. Limited public data in-program annual reports show 15 people contracted laboratory-acquired infections, and there were 3 unintended infections of animals, according to the reports, which do not identify labs and mostly provide aggregated accounts of incidents by type. The report's incidents involve events ranging from spills to failures of personal protective equipment or mechanical systems to needle sticks and animal bites. Pretty useless information. I'm just going to go right there and say that. Well, the program, jointly run by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention and the U.S. Department of Agriculture, yes, there we go, GMO, Monsanto. Yes, they refuse, of course, to release copies of detailed incident reports, citing a 2002 bioterrorism law.
Yes.
There we go. Well, incident records the USA Today network obtained directly from individual labs provide a window on the kinds of mistakes that happen. Yes. An animal caretaker in Georgia, for example, was potentially exposed to the bird flu virus that kills 60% of the people it infects when a defective respirator hose supplying purified air detached from its coupling in September. A researcher in Wisconsin was quarantined for 7 days in 2013 after a needle stick with a virgin... no, not with a virgin. With a version, rather.
Yes.
Of the same H5N1 influenza virus. A lab worker in Colorado failed to ensure specimens of the deadly bacterium Bucholderia pseudomeli, and had been killed before shipping them in May 2014 to a coworker in a lower-level lab who handled them without any critical protective gear. Oh, this is some good stuff right
yes.
here. Yeah. It makes you wonder, It's amazing we're not all dead right now. Right.
That's what they've done. They've reached a particular point that they feel they're untouchable.
Well, whatever they may be doing, they keep doing this stuff, and we're not going to be able to touch anybody. Well, the public and the lab community tend to learn only about rare instances of serious or fatal lab infections, which sometimes are published as case reports in scientific journals or make national news. In 2009, Malcolm Casaban, a University of Chicago scientist with an underlying medical condition, died from an infection with a weekend strain of plague bacteria. No, not a weekend strain, a weakened strain. Yeah. It's like designer drugs. Oh, I've just got the weakened strain. Yeah. Well, in 2012, 25-year-old researcher Ronald Dinh died after being infected during vaccine research involving Neisseria. Yes, a bacteria at a lab inside San Francisco's VA Medical Center. Both their deaths involved research in biosafety level 2 labs, where pathogens are considered to be less dangerous than those worked with in high containment labs. Yeah, well, they're dead, so yeah. Level 2, level 4. Yeah.
Yes.
Doesn't matter. They're still dead.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, Dinh, who became a researcher to cure diseases like the cancer that killed his mother, developed a fever and started feeling dizzy while out to dinner with friends. He had no idea how serious his symptoms were, his friends and family told USA Today. By morning, Dinh was covered in splotchy rash and could barely talk. That sounds like a Saturday morning around Crash's house. Yeah. Yes. Cy, his friend, raced to Dinh's apartment to help. Cy carried his friend down 2 flights of stairs and drove him to the hospital. His body was very hard, very straight, Cy said. Oh, George, you'll like that. Yeah. Nothing like those hard and straight bodies.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, a few hours later, Dinh was dead, and Cy said his friends were told they too were at risk and needed to take antibiotics because of their close contact with him. The bacteria that killed Dinh can spread from person to person by direct contact with respiratory secretions. About 24 emergency room workers were treated with antibiotics as a precaution, according to the presentation about the case at a scientific conference. Nobody else got sick from that particular exposure. Federal workplace safety investigators who investigated because the case involved a death said Dinh died because the VA failed to adequately supervise and protect workers in the research lab. Among the serious issues they cited, Dinh and other workers in the lab were manipulating specimens of the dangerous bacteria out on tabletops and not inside protective biosafety cabinets that would have reduced or eliminated potential exposures to droplets or splashes. The lab also failed to train workers about the warning signs of infection, the records show. This goes on for another... not paragraphs, 20 pages. The USA have been really doing their homework.
Yes.
And this is really scary and not good.
Yes.
No. And I don't know, I'm feeling the sniffles coming on, so I think we're going to let this one go.
Yes.
And another reason we're going to let it go is it's effing boring. And, of course, it is time to take that commercial break.
Yes.
Yes.
Break for a commercial.
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah. Well, we're going to go for that commercial, but don't worry. When we come back, we've got the spectacular eruption rocking that Japanese island, and we're back in 2.
You've got it locked to HTLA Radio 1, New York.
What if there was a coffee that was sourced from some of the world's most renowned growing regions? Abundant with rich, fertile soil. What if this coffee was picked at the perfect moment, then packed meticulously and shipped carefully to be roasted under the watchful eye of coffee masters? What if it was expertly blended, ground, and sealed, ensuring maximum flavor and freshness, then brewed in small batches and always served fresh within 20 minutes, just the way you like it. Now, what if this coffee just happened to be the coffee you already know and love? Tim Hortons. Always fresh. Always great tasting coffee.
Man, I've been to a lot of places over these past 50 years. Seen the whole true north strong and free. 'Cause I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. I've been to Cooksville, Stouffville, Bainesville, Bowmanville, Bonnieville, Unionville, Oakville, Dunville, Brockville, Boucherville, Melville, Drummondville, Kentville, Grenville, Morinville, Maryville, Parksville, Stephenville, Sackville, Spring Hill, Westville, Walkerville, hanging on a windowsill. Hey! He said, wow, that's a lot of places. I said, hang on, there's more. I've been to Monton, Picton, Shannon, Vernon, Stellarton, Hamilton, Nipigon, Nobleton, Yorkton, Brighton, Bolton, Beaverton, Brandon, Edmonton, Walkerton, Wyerton, Granby, Miramichi, Charlottetown, Burnaby, Yellowknife, Whitehorse, Corner Brook, Nunavut. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. I crossed the prairies bare, man. I breathed the mountain air. I've traveled, I've done my share, man. I've been everywhere, man. Check it out. Ottawa, Wawa, Mattawa, Chippewa, Moose Jaw, Oshawa.
Some said the U.S. has lost its innovative power. We said America is lighting the way as the innovation nation. Singular insights, superior execution. That's the power of global connections. Bank of America, Merrill Lynch. Voted top global research firm 2011, 12, and 13.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis. And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, pop-up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
In New York, because everything from what people are wearing on the street to the way they're interacting with each other, to drive through the West Village at night and you see a couple kissing on the street, or you see someone fighting outside their apartment, or you see so much humanity on a daily basis that even if you're not inspired by your own life that day, you can be inspired by someone else's life.
You got that long hair, slicked back, white t-shirt, and I got that good girl face and a tight little skirt. And when we go crashing down, we come back every time, 'cause we never go out, we never style, we never go out of style. Take me out.
There's only one place to get more Taylor. We're New York's best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1.
We hugged in the elevator, and I still have an erection. Now, I remember sitting next to you on a plane.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and I was flying out to L.A. to audition for some movie that I didn't get.
Right.
Which was fine.
Yeah.
Because I remember I was reading the script, and you said to me, "Oh, what are you reading?" And I said, "Oh, it's some John Travolta comedy." Called The Experts.
The Experts.
And it's about two young hip Americans who get kidnapped by Russian spies to teach them how to act like young hip Americans.
Right.
And you, being a fortune teller, said, "Oh, that sounds like a piece of shit."
Yeah, I did, yeah. Oh yeah,
I'm George Takei.
George, we know, we know who you are. Well, what I want to know, George, no, not George. Jesus, what the hell am I? What I want to know is from Gilbert, of course. What exactly? You never did say on the plane
Yes.
what they what role you were going for. You don't strike me as a young hip American. I don't. You're no. You're young hip American.
I'd like to have that as my slogan in life.
Well, no, that's not going to work. No. Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, everybody out there in the big wide world. HTLA Radio 1, New York's best talk, and you've got it tuned right now this afternoon, 3:34 in the afternoon right now. Man, hey, look at that. I can tell time.
Yes.
Yes, for the Friday Frappuccino on coffee and cigarettes, and still 81 degrees, Central Park, sunny, and you know what it did yesterday, Gilbert. Of
Yes.
course, yeah, he knows. When we finished up the show here, we got all cleaned up. We put a shirt on Jenny. We put a shirt on her, and we headed out to the Central Park there, and not even kidding. What was it, Jen? About 4, maybe 5 minutes in the park, and it was sunny and good, and then almost instantaneously, and sort of in brackets, I guess, the gods answering my prayers for the wet T-shirt. The clouds came in like 2 minutes flat.
Yes.
And a downpour unlike any downpour I've seen. We were just drowned rats in the bloody park.
Yes.
And, the ducks even left. That's how... That's how wet it was, and then so of course we take cover, we take shelter.
Yes.
We go over to the well, no, I won't, the coffee place, but yeah, not the. Yeah. Well, what do you want? The closest Tim Hortons was like 3 blocks away. It's not my fault.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we were at the Starbucks. And we're sitting in there, and we're drenched, and because of the thunderstorms and stuff, it was blowing up, and it was windy, so that made it, us cold. Although on some of us in our group, it was a little more evident.
Yes.
than it was just looking at the old Crash Man. But so really cool. And then we decide, okay, well, that's it. Let's head back. We'll be done and call it a day. We get back to the office, and
yes,
not a word of a lie. 10 minutes later, sunny and 85 again. Yeah. So we've realized we just can't win.
Yes,
we can't.
Sex is only the tip of the iceberg.
Well, it's a mighty fine couple of tips, I'll tell you. Well, anyway, moving back on with the show here. That's what we're kind of all about and doing. I think.
Yes.
Isn't that what we're supposed to be goddamn doing?
It's just life, and I love doing it. I love doing these kind of stories anyway.
Well, so do we, Louie, and you can tell just in the tone of our voice. Yes. Well, moving on today, of course, we had our weather problems here yesterday in New York, of course.
Yes.
But, well, as much as it sucked, it didn't suck as hard as it sucked in Japan. Yes. Yes, a spectacular eruption rocks the Japanese island Tokyo. A volcano erupted on a small island in southern Japan on Friday, and authorities ordered residents to evacuate the island, shouting, "Gojira! Gojira!" No, seriously now.
Yes.
Mount Shindrake erupted at about 10 a.m. or 0100 GMT Zulu time. Zulu time.
Yes.
And it erupted and did so in spectacular fashion, spewing towering black-gray clouds into the sky. The Japan Meteorological, yes, thank you very much,
yes,
agency reported that pyroclastic flows from the volcano had reached the shore to the northwest. The government was surveying the island by helicopter to assess the damage. The national broadcaster NHK cited local officials as saying that 80 residents had taken refuge in a shelter on the island. I wonder what that shelter must be made out of to withstand lava. Well, about 140 people live on Kichinorabu Island in the Ryukyu archipelago. It's almost like I'm I don't know, we're doing a new Street Fighter game or something. Kichinorabu Hai. Well, the Ryukyu archipelago, 50 miles, 80 kilometers southwest of the main southern island of Kyushu. Tourism and fishing are the main activities on the heavily forested mountainous island, which is a national park. The Japan Meteorological Agency raised the volcano alert level to 5, the highest on its scale. Shindrake also erupted in August last year for the first time since 1980. Kichinorabu Island can be reached only by once-a-day ferry from Yakushima Island, 12 kilometers, about 7 miles or 3.5 Godzilla tails east. Which has, of course, an airport and a population of more than 13,000 little peons.
Yes.
Or, as they like to say in the Godzilla movies, victims. Yes. Yes. So you can almost smell the GoFundMe Save Japan campaign, can't you? I bet you the scammers were right away making new scam charity websites.
Yes.
Won't you send your money to Japan for only $30 an hour? What the hell are we doing, Gilbert? We should go make ourselves a fake charity Japan Save website. Get ourselves up about $14 or $15 million each and call her a day.
Yes.
You are a
douchebag. Yes. Yes, I am. Well, moving on, of course. We've got more devastating news coming to us from India. Yes, nothing quite like devastating news, and today there's no shortage of it. You've probably heard about that incessant Indian heat wave. Well, it's killed 1,800 people. Screw those 80 on Japan. I think we got to set up a charity for the 1,800 dead Indians. Yeah. New Delhi today, India, as the death toll in a relentless weeks-long heat wave in India climbed to more than 1,800 today. Officials raced to contain the danger, pleading in vain for residents to stay inside. But many aren't listening to the warnings, even as temperatures have topped 112 degrees throughout the country since mid-May. Either we have to work in fields for food or we stay at home. Both ways, we may suffer death, says Ram Ranjan, 42. The poor farmer lives in the southern state of Andhra Pradesh, in one of the hardest hit areas along the Telangana state. Together, the two regions account for more than 1,000 of the deaths. More than 29% of the Indian population lives below the property. It lives below the property line. Yeah. Below the poverty line.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And I guess if I keep up this, I'm going to be living in the poverty line. Well, the majority of those are daily wage laborers, according to the government figures. Because of that, many are working outside in the extreme heat despite the risks. States in northern India, Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, and Madhya Pradesh are also dealing with extreme temperatures. In New Delhi, temperatures of 111 degrees are melting asphalt that's distorting painted pedestrian crosswalks. Oh, that's some heat there. I mean, that's going to make some of them boys in Louisiana. How hot was it, boy? It's melting the asphalt, distorting the painted pedestrian crosswalks. Tell you what. Well, that heat wave is now the fifth deadliest on recorded history and the second deadliest in India's history, according to EMDAT, the International Disaster Database. Authorities said the majority of the dead are laborers working outside on farms and construction sites or are elderly. Even contractors are refraining from assigning any work to us, says Krishna Kumar, 35, a construction worker in Uttar Pradesh province. They are waiting for the weather to cool down. Either way, we're out of choices. I'm confused about something. You know, in America here, if you're a construction worker and whatnot, you know, you go work your job.
Yes.
You go work. You get your check. You might buy a couple of cases of booze and get loaded. But, you know. Pretty much I'm thinking that you might have a couple of bucks left over before the next check.
Yes.
So, you know, what most logical human beings do in that case is, well, leave those couple of bucks in the bank and let them grow with another couple from the next month, right?
Yes.
I don't know what you guys call it down here in America, but up in Canada we call it savings. Right, and you know, what's the old saying? Saving for a rainy day.
Yes.
Right? Well, hello, it's pissing in India. Hello. You know, where are these, you know, why I don't understand. Why do none of these workers have any money and they die instantaneously the next day if they don't go to work? What? Yes. You know, we have to go out in this 120-degree weather because we'll die tomorrow if we don't. Yeah. Well, either way, they're apparently out of choices.
Yes.
Rivers, pools, and lakes are full of residents trying to beat the heat. Volunteers are handing out water, and people are sleeping outside because of a lack of electricity. Sometimes on roofs, sometimes on the street. You know, that sounds like, I don't know, one of those Lollapalooza things. You know? Well, it sounds pretty cool. You know, it's one of those, all they got to do is get like the Grateful Dead and crap to go there and play. And,
yes.
You know, people sleeping on roofs and stuff. That sounds to me like a music festival. Well, India's meteorological department said that the intense heat is expected to continue over the next 3 days. See, so if we organize quickly, we could probably make a lot of money there, too. Especially in the Andhra Pradesh and Telangana states. It warned residents in areas such as eastern India states of Odisha and Jharkhand. No, sorry, that's Jharkhand.
Yes.
And coastal Andhra Pradesh that are particularly high risk right now of a rise in body temperature and heat stroke, both of which can be fatal. We've extended the caution period for 3 more days as we see no relief till then, said YK Reddy, head of the Weather Service at its local branch in Hyderabad. Monsoon season, which typically begins in June, could bring relief, but even that may not be enough this year. The monsoon may hit the coastal areas of Odisha within the next 2 days, and then the south part of the country may see some relief, says S.C. Sahu, director of the Meteorological Division in Odisha. S.C. Sadhu. Well, for the rest of the country, there might not be much of a reprieve until mid-July. India weather forecasters predict. In addition, a lack of rain is expected, even with the monsoons. What? What do you mean, lack of rain expected even with the monsoons? The monsoons is rain. Just pointing that out there.
Yes.
Monsoons, rain. Yeah.
Yes.
There you go. I don't know. Maybe they have a different definition of monsoons over there. Maybe what they have is monsoonto. Yes, that chemical corporate rainstorm that,
yes.
that kills you where you live. Yeah. Well, states as Rajasthan and Gujarat are already experiencing drought-like conditions. Stockpiles of essentials such as grain are available to head off starvation, but seasonal crops such as grains and vegetables are at serious risk. As the heat drags on, dehydration and heat stroke are increasingly being reported. My friend was with me at the bookstore. He suddenly started losing his senses and fell, says Jagat Singhal, 25, a student in New Delhi. He says, I took him to the hospital where he was declared dead from hydration. Or, no, dehydration. Yes. Oh, he's being declared dead. He's had too much water.
Yes.
Yeah, that's... Well, similar incidents are being reported across the country, says Ajay Lekhi, head of the Delhi Medical Association. People are reporting complaints of dehydration and dizziness, he said. Surgeon Ashok Pradhan says that's only adding to the death toll. Dehydration is leading to hypertension, he said. We are seeing patients dying from hemorrhaging or heart attacks due to rises in blood pressure. Meanwhile, electricity cuts have been going on for days now, especially in the northern part of the country, including the capital of New Delhi. Residents reported that some areas are without power for 12 hours each day, and some areas are without power 12 days now. Well, the situation is becoming critical, says Jangriti Upadhyay of Uttar Pradesh. We didn't expect such an intense power cut during this time. A rise in critical levels of poisonous gases, such as carbon monoxide, is also being reported in the capital, says Gurfan Beg, director at the System of Air Quality and Weather Forecasting Research. There has been increase in ozone levels due to temperature increase also, he said. The reading is the highest this year that it's ever been. So, yeah, there's no such thing as global warming. No, there's not. And if you say there is, we'll have a Biolab terror accident at your house. Yeah. Yes, and moving on today, a dog found with her muzzle taped shut. Yes, Caitlin, a 15-month-old chocolate staffy mix, was found recently with electrical tape wound around her muzzle. This according to the Charleston Animal Society in South Carolina. The tape was so tight that Caitlin's tongue was caught between her teeth, stopping blood flow to her tongue. The Society wrote on its Facebook page. On May 28th, the Charleston Animal Society posted an update saying that the dog was doing well given her condition and will be transferred to a special care facility tomorrow. The Society says that the tape was thought to have been on the dog for up to 36 to 48 hours. Caitlin was a stray in the Chikira, Cherokee neighborhood, according to the Animal Society, and was known for being friendly. Caitlin is in a lot of pain. Her condition is critical, and her prognosis is guarded, says Charlton Animal Society Senior Director of Veterinary Care. Holy crap, is that a title? Yes, the Charleston Animal Society Senior Director of Veterinary Care, Lucy Fuller.
Yes.
There we go. You got to take like 2 breaths to say that title. Well, a large part of her tongue may need to be removed surgically if the tissue dies from lack of blood flow. She may be severely disfigured, or the large amount of dead tissue may cause life-threatening implications. North Charleston Animal Control is investigating the case, offering a $1,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of those responsible. And the pictures are absolutely horrifying.
Yes.
Electrical tape, like really, you know how it stretches?
Yes.
And it's wrapped around her mouth and snoot so badly it's cut right into her lips.
Yes.
And it's all kinds of wrong, but on the other hand, I can see electrical tape definitely having its benefits with some bondage. But I didn't say that.
Yes.
No. Yes, so we wish her all the best. Hope she gets a speedy recovery and they find whoever did that and pass them off to me with some electrical tape. Yeah. Yes, I think I could take care of that.
Yes.
Yes, I could.
Sex is only the tip of the iceberg.
Yes, Louis, but I'm not going to have sex with them. Well, we do have to go for our second commercial break, but before we do, we've got to go to our Eye in the Sky.
Yeah.
Yes, what is it? Brock Favors with the HTLA, what is it, Helicopter 1 air highway report there?
Yes.
Something? I don't know. That sounds good. Yeah.
Yes.
We'll make that. So we'll go to Brock and then commercial, and then we'll be back.
Hello, everybody out there. This is Brock Favors with Traffic on the Ones. Chad Armstrong is out sick today, so I am filling in for my usual land reports, and I'm up here in the chopper, but I got to tell you guys, I am loving the view. Oh, my God! Oh! Whew. All right. Well, we are over the 10. It is massively clogged down there like a pint of maple syrup on a cool November morning. And we do, oh, goddamn, we're gonna die in this mother. Oh, my God! Woo! Okay. Okay, I am very sorry, folks. It's a little bit of a bumpy ride up here. We are now approaching the 405, where the left lane is blocked by a mattress. So somebody is going to be doing a little return to IKEA later today. You know what I'm saying? Oh, no, please! Oh, goddamn! Oh, get me out this motherfucking death machine right now! Oh, no, black people ain't meant to be in the sky! We ain't meant to be in the sky, man! Oh, mama, help me, mother...
Yeah.
Well, the 405 is up right now. Ain't nobody going down this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry, folks. I'm very sorry, but I'm losing my up here.
Actually, you have every right to. We're about to crash.
Oh, help me!
You've got it locked to HTLA Radio 1, New York.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis.
And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had one blade and polio. Looking good, Pop-Up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
It could be 7 in the morning.
Or 10 at night.
In Chilliwack, BC.
Or St. Peters, Nova Scotia.
It could be Michelle.
Or Mark.
Or Jen.
But whenever, wherever you order that cup of Tim Hortons Premium Blend Coffee,
You know that it's always
Always.
fresh.
From Newfoundland and Labrador to Vancouver Island, Tim Hortons, a coffee all our own.
When we arrived at our hotel in New York, the porter was so incredibly careless with our bags. And the room they gave us, it was beautiful. A broom closet. But the worst part was the shower. My wife drying herself with the
Egyptian cotton towels.
Shower curtain defined that whole vacation for her. Don't just visit New York.
Visit TripAdvisor New York.
With millions of reviews, a visit to TripAdvisor makes any destination better.
Some said the U.S. has lost its innovative power. We said America is lighting the way as the innovation nation. Singular insights, superior execution. That's the power of global connections. Bank of America, Merrill Lynch. Voted top global research firm 2011, 12, and 13.
I've been so inspired by being in New York because everything from what people are wearing on the street to the way they're interacting with each other, to drive through the West Village at night and you see a couple kissing on the street, or you see someone fighting outside their apartment, or you see so much humanity on a daily basis that even if you're not inspired by your own life that day, you can be inspired by someone else's life.
You got that long hair, slicked back, white t-shirt, and I got that good girl face and a tight little skirt. And when we go crashing down, we come back every time, 'cause we never go out of style. We never go out of style. Take me out.
There's only one place to get more Taylor. We're New York's best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1.
Inevitably, that question comes up. But I tell people the gift of Star Trek is the fact that my professional colleagues, my co-workers on Star Trek, became lifelong friends. We are like a family.
Yeah.
But, like every family, you have your crazy uncle.
Hey, Joe, say it, Cary Grant. As a canter.
Yeah, we don't want to go there right now, Gilbert. We're just no. Let's just leave that the way it is and try and do, I don't know, a normal segue back into the show. How about a normal segue back in?
You know why, Chris? Because you're such a control freak, you don't want anyone to tell you what to do.
Really? Is that... Yeah? You think so, huh?
No, I don't.
I've been on enough radio shows to know that in the middle of an answer, the guy is like checking the boards and looking over notes and talking to other people. Yes.
Yeah, right.
See? Now you're impressed.
Yeah. Well, he might be. I'm not. No, I'm not. And the reason that I'm not, of course, is because I'm the one doing all that.
Yes.
Yeah, you're you just sit in your apartment there day after day in the afternoon, just sitting on your microphone. I don't know what the hell you do over there. But yeah, that's I'm doing that. Yeah, it's just yeah.
It's about fucking time. Move on.
Oh yes, thank you, Louis. Well, geez, yeah, somebody's concerned about the direction of the damn show. Yeah. Well, welcome back, ladies and joims. That's right. You are listening, of course, to Coffee and Cigarettes, your Friday Frappuccino for the 29th of May, 2015, 81 degrees Central Park right now. Oh, next thing you know, I'm going to be announcing the horse races.
Yes.
Yeah. Prancing Beauty coming up on the inside. Prancing Beauty. Oh, the Kentucky Derby not.
Yes.
No. Curious Invigoration now coming to the inside. Yes. Giving Prancing Beauty a run for money. Speaking of money, buy more tickets. Buy more tickets. Wonder if you'll have I don't know, this year's Kentucky Derby now.
Yes.
We'll maybe have horses, named for like Japan Volcano. Japan Volcano. And coming up, number 6 on the outside is Indian Summer. Yes. Yes, 120 degrees of pure speed.
You are a douchebag.
Yeah, well, whatever the case may be, it doesn't matter. I'll still be making the bucks as that horse race announcer. Yes, and I might even buy myself a horse and call it Election 2016 coming on the inside. Yeah. Oh, good old fill up my mouth with farts.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but I love Phil.
Yes.
Yeah. He's got my vote.
I wasn't expecting that reaction.
Well, it's not really a reaction. It's a growing movement, George. Catch Phil fever.
Yes.
We're 5 steps away from winning the Academy Award.
Louis, we know. God damn it, stop it. And you didn't. You just didn't. It's over. It was 55 years ago. Stop it. God.
It's just life, and I love doing it. I love doing these kind of stories anyway.
Oh, right. Yeah, the stories. Hey, yeah, we are trying to do a show here, old man. Look at that. Well, fine. I'll finally get to move on with my damn stories now. Yes. And we'll tell you about what is next on the old items up for reading here on the News Stories Are Right. A freeway shooting survivor says that they were being followed. Oh, yeah, y'all shut up now, didn't you? Yeah. Well, that's right. Washington, a driver on Interstate 295 was killed when someone shot at his SUV, and the passenger who survived told his family that the men were being followed. Pedro Alvarado, 50, of Alexandria, Virginia, was driving his sport utility vehicle at about 8:45 a.m. Thursday near the entrance to the Naval Research Lab. Was it a bioterror lab? About 2 miles north of the Capitol Beltway when shots rang out. His brother-in-law, Miguel Rodriguez, 57, was in the passenger seat. Both were shot, and the driver and passenger windows on the vehicle were shattered. Alvarado died at the scene, and Rodriguez was seriously injured and transported to the hospital, where he still remains to this day.
Yes.
Yes, the very next day. Yeah. Well, a bullet is still lodged in his cheek. Rodriguez's family members say doctors consider it too risky to remove for fear of brain damage. Who keeps their brain in their cheek? Well, maybe, just maybe, the story was written wrong here. Maybe the bullet isn't lodged in his cheek, or indeed, maybe he doesn't have a brain. The father of 4 might be released from the hospital later today, so I'm pretty sure there's no risk of brain damage. The shooter or shooters remained at large as of today, and police do not have a good description of the car. Initially, we thought this might have been a confrontation right here, a road rage incident, says Kathy Lanier, Director of Columbia Police Chief. No, that would be District of Columbia Police Chief.
Yes.
I'm the Director of Columbia Police Chief. Yeah. Yes, well, at least it's a shorter title than that last one.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, now it seems more like there was a car, but we don't have a description. It followed this SUV out of Virginia before they came to the district. Rodriguez and Alvarado, both natives of El Salvador, who have been in the United States for 15 years, family members said. The two were close. Their families lived next door to each other, and the men worked together in the Washington area doing construction, maintenance, and handyman work. I don't know. There's too little details, I think.
Yes.
And the important details, I don't know, they seem in this story, to me at least, to have been, left out.
Yes.
And I think recently, with the top story on Coffee and Cigarettes Today being about the bioterror thing and indeed the cleanups and everything going on with our lovely government, killing all those exposed. I think we may find the shooters or Uncle Sam.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, let's get on to, I don't know, a real story. Yes. How about that Manhattanhenge? Yes.
Yes.
Unfortunately, yeah. Well, that's true. Manhattanhenge is happening this weekend in the big city. The phenomenon occurs when the setting sun aligns precisely with the Manhattan street grid, creating a radiant glow of light across Manhattan's brick and steel canyons and signaling the coming of Satan, Donald Trump. Yes, it illuminates the north and south sides of every cross street of the borough's grid, writes, Neil deGrasse Tyson, of course, in the Hayden Planetarium in New York City, the world's only educated black man. Well, the event starts at 8:12 p.m. tonight and Saturday evening as well. For optimal viewing, position yourself as far east in Manhattan as possible. For you folks out there who don't know, that's the rich side. Upper East Side, baby.
Yes.
Yeah, don't acknowledge and laugh like that's where you live. No. Yes. When you look west across the avenues, you can still see New Jersey. Clear across streets include 14th, 23rd, 34th, 42nd, 57th, and several streets adjacent to them. The Empire State Building and the Chrysler Building render 34th Street and 42nd Streets especially striking vistas, according to the Hayden Planetarium. There are expected to be clear skies on Friday and some clouds Saturday. AccuWeather meteorologist Mike Dahl says the clouds could make the sunset more picturesque, but beware, it could completely block out the whole damn thing. Well, good old Dr. Tyson there, yes, says that Manhattanhenge is the homage to Stonehenge in the Salisbury Plain of England. Really doofy. Yes, let's compare our dirty, disgusting American city.
Yes.
To the actual sacred Stonehenge, which actually, would be newsworthy. God damn it. What are you going to do? Yes, it's homage to Stonehenge, of course, in Salisbury Plain of England. For Stonehenge, the special day is the summer solstice, when the sun rises in perfect alignment with several of the stones, signaling the change of season and not the coming of the Trump. Well, according to AccuWeather, Manhattanhenge happens 4 times a year, twice in the summer during sunset and twice during the winter during sunrise. And if we actually go back historically, we can trace the birth of Donald Trump's children to one of these 4 days. Oh, I can just hear the presidential ads now.
Yes.
I'm Donald Trump, and if you want me to control your soul, vote for me. Oh, yes, the good old Don.
Yes.
The Donster, the man.
Yes.
I should shut up or he's going to come take me. Right. Of course, you don't have to worry, George. No. I know your demons.
Yeah.
I do. He visits you every night in your dreams. It's the shot.
He enjoys being the center of everything.
Well, yeah, he's the shot. Well, finally today on the Big Friday show, to kick your weekend off with a bang, here's a story that'll just make you go, thank God I'm not an Uber driver. Yes, even though you're out of work, Gilbert.
Yes.
Even though you've made just crap money and pissed it away on whores and drugs. Well, and don't laugh to you, George, too, because I'm sure the vast majority of your little Star Trekky fortune has gone off to some gay bars around here. But both of you should take solace in the knowledge that your lives are better than the people in our next story.
Yes.
Yes, in our next story, where in the world does it come from? Well, I'm glad you asked. The absolute epitome of class, luxury, and joy and happiness, Mexico. Yes. Well, Uber beware, Mexican taxi drivers will hunt you down and kill you. Yes, a leader of Mexico State's taxi drivers said, quote, "We are not going to leave Uber cars alone. We are tracking these colleagues and hunting them down, and will kill them." So says Esteban Meza, who represents about 13,000 angry Mexican cabbies. And he told this to the country's top-selling newspaper, El Universal. Yes, Meza claims his cohort will hand Uber drivers over to the authorities. Well, it just goes to show, police in Mexico won't help you. Yes, he warns that without a doubt this is going to be big trouble. Mexico is the site of the latest turf war since the meteoric case of car service companies like Uber, Lyft, or Cabify, whose smartphone apps and no-cash payment systems are quickly transforming private transportation internationally. Taxi drivers worldwide complain they're losing their livelihood to services that they accuse of swerving around traditional license and fare rules and are taking legal action. And judges from Brazil to Italy have ruled in the old-school taxi's favor. Well, I guess mafia tactics do work. Yeah. Well, now some Mexican taxi drivers are promising to take that fight from the court to the streets. Past rivalries between competing taxi groups have led to some bloody street battles. Another Mexico state taxi leader also said his affiliates were combating the Uber threat on the street. We have decided their presence, or we have detected their presence.
Yes.
Yes. It's probably a good thing to detect it before you decide. We've detected their presence and taken measures to stop them from coming into this part of Mexico State, said Roberto Oviedo, who represents thousands of taxi and bus drivers, according to El Universal. He didn't say specifically what those measures were or would be for fear of criminal prosecution. Well, Mexico State incorporates much of the urban sprawl of Mexico City. Taxi drivers in the Federal District and the central part of the city have also complained about Uber and have held marches against it. In the whole of Mexico City, home to 20 million people, about 300,000 people have now downloaded the Uber app, according to Mexico's radio formula. The traditional taxi drivers say they aren't against competition, but complain that Uber drivers haven't gone through the same expensive and time-consuming efforts to get licenses. Well, aren't you stupid, Cabby? So let me get this straight. You're pissed off because this multinational corporation now has come along and has come up with a system to essentially fill your niche there with a system that's cheaper, faster, better service, and cost less money. And you don't like that because you can't charge out the ass and own everybody. Okay. I think I got that now. Okay. Well, ain't equality a bitch? Yes, they're not just against competition, but they claim that Uber drivers haven't gone through the same expensive and time-consuming efforts to get licenses. Well, we here at HTLA looked into the time and effort you need to get a license. Yeah, about $75 in an afternoon of your time, unless, of course, you're at the New York DMVs. Then, granted, the wait could take 3 to 6 months.
Yes.
But it's not difficult, and there's no training. You don't need training to yell and scream at people in a foreign language and treat them like crap and drive away, leaving them stranded.
Yes.
It's not, that's not. You don't need to train for that. It's pretty much, well, you know. Well, the transport authorities limit the number of taxi licenses that they grant to avoid flooding the market with even more assholes. Well, the Mexican transportation officials are currently holding meetings at both state and federal levels to determine how they will deal with the Uber challenge. Insert payoff here. Well, gang, that is... Oh, yeah, there's the show music. That's the Friday. We're getting the hell out of here. It's time to go. It's time to go. I want to thank the one, the only Louis Lawless for being here again today. It was great having you, sir, and look forward to having you next week.
Wait a minute, I got lost. HTLA. Oh, HTLA.
Right, that's what it is. And that's very good. Thank you.
They get crazy because all of a sudden nobody loves them.
Well, okay, I'm just going to move on. Gilbert, thank you.
Thank you for listening and support the show for the love of God.
He goes again. Yes, and ha ha ha.
Yes.
Yeah, the one, the only George ha 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 Takei. Thank you, sir.
I've enjoyed it thoroughly. It has been a fantastic experience.
I wouldn't go that far. But hey, thank you all the same for being here, and thank you, listeners of HTLA Radio 1, New York's best talk. Of course, check out all our stuff, HTLARadio1.com. Check it all out, and it's all there and out and stuff.
Yes.
That's all you need to know.
Yes.
Thanks, Brisonis. Thanks, Tim Hortons, New York City. We'll be sure to try and get stranded at one of your locations next rainstorm, Jenny and I. And thanks you, listeners. Have a great weekend. We'll catch you here Monday, 3 p.m. Eastern for the Monday Mocha. Have a good weekend.
We're New York's best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1.